All right. I'd like to call the Delaware County Commissioners meeting in order. It is Monday, September 20th, 2021. The time is 9 o'clock. If everybody could please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Donna, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry?
Here.
Ms. Reagan?
Present.
Mr. King?
Here.
Mr. Burke?
Here.
First, we'll start off with a public hearing on the American Rescue Plan. Do we have anybody here to speak for or against it?
Rick Yenser, author and former newsman. As we the people talk about spending federal relief during this pandemic, I would hope that government still allows people to speak. I witnessed last week a school board that removed a taxpayer for wanting to speak. And speaking of taxes, this money, depending on how you spend it on either infrastructure or people, you need to provide some property tax relief to this community. Property taxes have gone up anywhere from 2 to 5% on homes, farms, businesses, for a variety of reasons, from a variety of government schools that seemingly haven't quit spending during this time. And I'm concerned that you're putting a lot of money into utilities. And I'd like to remind the commissioners of what they've done here in the last couple of years to raise utilities and increase spending, bonded indebtedness on all of us taxpayers. As you might recall, last year, you imposed a 40% increase for utility customers in Westbrook and Daleville. Now I see you're spending even more on that sanitary district that should have been set up 40 years ago as a tax-based operation or merged with the Muncie Sanitary District when there was a lawsuit over who did what for who here recently. I'm thinking too that I didn't see a whole lot of people-based programs funded by this plan. You know, there are still a lot of homeless, a lot of unemployed, a lot of people in need. Now, I see in other states and other communities in this country that they're handing out local stimulus checks and stimulus reliefs, whether it's from schools or government. That's something the county might want to consider, given that you've raised our utilities and you've raised our taxes in recent years. I think in this plan, even though I don't have a copy because I don't think it was available last week or not made available, there's some money for that jail that just opened up this year to either put a roof on or do some maintenance. And I would remind again that debt that the county imposed a couple years ago, over the next 20 years, the income earners, that probably would exceed $60 million on the payback, but still you privatize the building, and I'm still unsure why taxpayers and government have to be on the nickel or dime for maintenance when a developer owns that building until it's paid off. There are some other projects that come to mind, but hopefully this plan will change to help the people, because there are a lot of people out there that still need help, regardless of what the government, whether it's the federal, state, or local, has done in the last 18 months to help. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Mr. Yenser, you understand that the federal government placed guidelines against us, correct, on how this is supposed to be spent?
I know what the rules are.
Right.
And I know that this was directed from the federal government for the people. So you might want to consider that too, because there are other ways to help the people, not necessarily directly, but to spend down government spending so that you could provide tax relief, or to provide it to not-for-profits and other agencies that do help people.
All right. Anybody else? Hey, Miranda here from Community Corrections.
Jane, yeah, that was here.
She was supposed to be here, I believe. Anybody else to speak for or against it? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Donna, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Ms. Reagan?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes. Next, we'll move to tabled business, ordinance number 2021-026. Ordinance to limit weight and commercial truck traffic on county roads in Delaware County, Indiana.
This is an ordinance that was proposed about a month ago. I had a conversation with Angie and Tommy and took a look at the county code and have revised it to amend the county code so that it doesn't take out those weight restrictions on some of those roads and bridges in the county.
Okay.
I added to the county code, and there's a whole list of bridges, and that was one thing Angie wanted me to be careful of, so I wanted to make sure I got that. So this is revised. It still has the same intent. It keeps commercial vehicles 26,000 pounds or greater off the roads, particularly for those unofficial detours that the state has, and has exceptions.
So all the changes has been made to where we can take it off the
Yes.
table today.
Yes.
I'll make a motion, we remove it from the table.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Donna, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Reagan?
Yes.
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
I'll make,
Want to do something with it for the first reading?
It's for adoption, actually, because you already had the first reading
Okay.
with the initial.
I'll make a motion, we adopt resolution 2021-026.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Donna, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Ms. Reagan?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes. Next, we need approval of minutes for the September 7th, 2021 Commissioners meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Donna, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Ms. Reagan?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes. Next, we'll go to contracts and agreements for approval, the American Rescue Plan.
Joe and I did some revisions on the American Rescue Plan, and you have the updated version in, that we sent to you over the weekend. The plan as set forth has the projects in it and the use authority as set forth in the American Rescue Plan, 42 U.S.C. Section 803, for all the different plans. There are some plans that were taken out, some ideas that were taken out. The interceptor in the Delville area, the overlook for the regional wastewater district was taken out. I had a conversation with the engineers for the town of Eaton on their water project. That was added in at their request, but then it's been removed because they're getting a significant amount of grant money from the USDA for this particular project. It's a $15–17 million project, and they're getting a lot of it via grant, and they were afraid that any local money like this may affect and reduce the grant money, so the engineers asked to take it out as well. There are a couple other projects I think that we took out, so the total amount of funding is less than the $11 million that the county was received. I have not allocated any money for revenue replacement. That was placed in the hands of the county council to make that determination. So if they make that determination, that is part of it, yes. They make that determination, so.
Okay.
The rest of the projects are still there, so.
Okay.
I make a motion, we approve the plan.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Donna, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Ms. Reagan?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes. Next, we'll move to ordinances for first reading, an ordinance to amend an ordinance regulating traffic and certain public streets in Delaware County.
This is an ordinance that was put together for the adoption of some stop signs out near the reservoir. And because you're adding the stop signs, you have to have a public hearing which we've already sent notice to the newspaper for October 4th at your next meeting. But this is just for introduction for those stop signs.
Okay.
I'll make a motion we introduce ordinance 2021-027.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Donna, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we'll go to payment of claims in the amount of $2,004,287.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Donna, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Do we have any department heads, elected officials that would like to speak? Mr. Bookout?
I do note on Facebook that Jane Miranda said she's on the way. She's stuck behind the truck, so.
Okay.
Commissioners, good morning. Brad Bookout with Delaware County Economic Development and Redevelopment. I wanted to advise you of a situation. The former Hilltop Hotel property, the county had awarded it to the Veterans Foundation of Delaware County. There was a prospect that we were working with that was interested in some redevelopment of the property. The project has changed direction, and the funding is not available to carry out the project like originally intended. So I'd recommend that the county consider taking the property back from the Veterans Foundation, finding another direction to go in with it.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to take the Hilltop property back from the Indiana Veterans Foundation to the county. Donna, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Mr. Walters, while you're here, would the East Central Regional Planning District, if, like we've done property before, if we can have John do a resolution to give it to your organization?
Do an
Can you
RFP.
guys do like an RFP?
Yep.
To where we can put it back out there?
Yeah, John, just have to, whether it's application, how the process will be, yeah, however the attorney determines it.
Okay.
Move it over and we can do it.
How many acres is involved out there?
Oh, that's a good question, Commissioner. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Yeah.
5, 6?
I think it's
Yeah.
under 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
I'd be
working a
guessing.
project right around the corner on Madison too, the old gas station, so, yeah, it'll give me 2 down there on that corner.
And the roof's completely not,
Yeah. The building's in really bad shape. Yeah.
John, can you do that for us?
Yes, I'll take care of that.
Okay,
Thank you, Commissioners.
thank you.
Thank you.
Jane? That's all right.
Good morning, Jane Miranda from Delaware County Community Corrections. I just wanted to speak briefly on behalf of our proposal for the COVID relief money. Community Corrections was asked to submit a proposal for consideration for the COVID relief money that was awarded to our county. In this proposal, Community Corrections asked for money to help continue operating our substance abuse classes and our domestic violence class. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw an increase in substance abuse offenses, domestic violence cases, and more individuals experiencing mental health issues. As I look at the current proposal, I see money for a rehabilitation center that's years in the making. Although this is vital to our community, Community Corrections provides services to our citizens now, and we merely ask for a small amount to continue providing those services. It is important to remember that Community Corrections provides low-cost education and interventions for individuals involved in our criminal justice system. While we are seeing smaller agencies designed to address these issues for lower-income individuals close their doors due to lack of funding, you as our commissioners have an opportunity to help individuals now by providing our agency some funds to continue services to these individuals. Community Corrections is asking that you reconsider our proposal and award money to help continue services for our citizens in this county. I have brought our proposal today if you would like a copy, or I would be happy to email it to you.
Could you email it
Sure.
to me and also make sure John gets a copy of it?
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other department head, elected official? If not, Jenny, do we have anybody signed up? I did see a couple that come in a little late. Are you guys here to speak on anything?
Yeah, if I could have, I'd like to.
Step up to the mic, sir.
My wife and I owned at Merck's Family Dining over at the airport. Because of COVID, mostly because of COVID, we've lost a lot of money in the last year and a half. We had to close down for 3 months, and do carryouts strictly. And we had heard that the county might be putting some funds available for that, and that's why we're here today.
Yeah, there's funding in there in our American Rescue Plan. It'll go through our Visitors Bureau for things like that, and there'll be a process that they'll come out with.
Is that who we should contact, the Visitors Bureau?
Yeah, that's who I would.
Eventually,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as everything's passed and everything goes through, then we'll have it all set up and you can contact the Visitors Bureau.
All right, thank
Sir,
you.
could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Name's Tim Merkel. The restaurant address is 5201 North Walnut, Muncie, Indiana, 47303.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for everybody at home, the process is the commissioners propose a plan, and then the commissioners have then made an appropriation request to the council. It's the council that has to approve the appropriation to use the money for that plan. If the council doesn't approve the appropriation, then the plan can't go forward. So the money actually is appropriated by the council pursuant to the State Board of Accounts rules.
Right. Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to recess.
So move.
Second.
Have motion and second. Donna, can you call roll, please?
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Ms. Reagan? Yes. Mr. King?
Yes. Going to recess.